Hi boys and girls. I have a brand new learning video today, and it's on a topic that we have not talked about yet, and you may not have heard about it yet at school. It's called natural resources. Natural resources, that sounds kind of tricky, but it really isn't. The word natural means something you find in nature, and resources are just things that people can use. So when we put those two words together, natural resources, that just means something found in nature that people can use. If I think of things that are found in nature that we can use, I think of trees. Some people use trees for shade at their home, but other people have a job to use trees to make things like paper. I think of the air as a natural resource because we need it to breathe. I think of plants and animals as natural resources because they provide food for us. I think of the soil as a natural resource because, of course, we use it to plant plants in. And of course, water is a natural resource. We use it to drink, we use it to bathe in and to cook with. There are all kinds of natural resources, and we need to make sure that we're taking care of them so that we'll always have them to use. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to read you this pretty short book called On Earth to remind us of all the important things that the earth does for us. Then we're going to look at the PebbleGo site. You can visit the PebbleGo site anytime you'd like. The password and the username are on those learning activities that I sent home with you. And I've also sent a copy to your parents through email. Okay, here's the book. It's called On Earth. It's written by Brian Karras. On Earth. And you're going to notice some of the things we learned about when we were studying the sun and the moon and the earth are reviewed in this book as well. On Earth. If you take a look, this is supposed to be the sun. Remember we talked about how much bigger the sun was than Earth. Here's our Earth. Very small compared to the sun. On Earth, we go for a giant ride in space, spinning like a merry-go-round. You can see the picture. I notice lots of those natural resources we're learning about. There's soil here under the grass. Here are trees. Remember, we use those for shade, but we also use them to make things like paper. Of course, they're breathing in the air. And here's another natural resource, sunlight. It provides energy and helps things grow. So that's pretty cool. And it says that Earth is spinning like a merry-go-round. Remember when we learned about force and motion? One of the motions we learned about was round and round, like a helicopter or a merry-go-round. And we know that the Earth is spinning all the time. Remember, it's always moving, but the sun doesn't move at all. I'm going to have to turn the book a little bit. There's the Earth. And it says the Earth spins on its axis and circles the sun in a great sweep. So it's going all the way around the sun. Remember, it takes a whole year to travel around the sun, but remember, it spins once every 24 hours. That's how we have day, that's the side facing the sun, and night. Now remember learning about that with you in class. We face the sun, its light and warmth as we live our days. So now it's daytime. He's enjoying the energy from the sun. Here are some other natural resources. I see plants and trees like the forest. There's soil underneath, and of course the sunlight in the air. Shadows get long as the day rolls into night. At night, we turn away from the sun and see a universe of stars and planets. We talked about those planets. Do you remember what they were called? There are other planets besides the Earth. While we dream of what we can do tomorrow. So this side of the Earth is having night, and of course this side over here is having day. While we spin, we also travel in an orbit around the sun, so that by the time we get back to where we started, we're 1 year older. And I can see the months of the year: January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Do you remember how many months are in the year? You can count them if you don't. See if you can close your eyes after we're done with the story and say all of the months of the year to yourself in order like we just did. We count months as we grow. In 12 months, a year has gone by. That's how many months we have in a year. And you can see the little boy is growing, and the tree is growing along with him, going through the seasons of the year. Years go by day. We count them with calendars and candles. He has his birthday cake. The Earth tilts on its axis. When we lean toward the sun, we're warmer. That means it's summertime. When we lean away, we're colder, like during the winter time. Our seasons change from summer to autumn to winter to spring. When the Earth's top side leans away from the sun, there is winter above the equator and summer below. The equator is an invisible line that goes across the Earth in a horizontal way. In winter, the days get shorter and the nights are longer. I remember us learning about that in school together. By spring, the days are filled with sunlight. This is a good picture. I see lots of natural resources. Remember, natural resources are something found in nature that people can use. I see soil, plants, trees, sunlight, air. We spin and we circle, rotate and revolve, but we don't fall off. Gravity holds us to the Earth. Remember, that's a force that we talked about. Gravity is a force that holds us down so we don't float away. Gently, slowly, around and around, we hold out our arms as we glide through the universe. You can see here a big natural resource. All the water that's on the Earth is a natural resource for us and for the fish that live in the oceans. There's our whole solar system. We fly through space as night becomes day, summer becomes winter, and years go by. Here's a last view of the Earth rotating and revolving. That was a great review of all the things we've learned about Earth and a good beginning to learning about natural resources. Now we're going to look at that PebbleGo site that we looked at quite often in class. So I have my PebbleGo site here, and if I clicked on Science and then Earth Science, there's a spot that says, what are natural resources? Fantastic, because that's what we're learning about. Let's see what PebbleGo has to say about natural resources. And then, of course, you can visit PebbleGo anytime you like. It says natural resources are things in nature people use. That's exactly what we were talking about. Water, sunlight, and air are important natural resources. We need them to live. Other natural resources are plants, animals, soil, stone. Oh, I didn't think of stone. Stone or rocks. Those are a natural resource. Minerals and fossil fuels. We'll learn a little bit more about those in just a second. Look at this fantastic picture. I see the animals. You know, we use animals for our food sometimes, like cows, to make beef. I can see water that they're drinking to keep them strong and healthy. I see the sunlight, which gives us energy, and the air. I see plants. That's a great picture to show us natural resources. Let's see what's next. Plants.
Animal resources.
Plants need sunlight.
Plants need sunlight, water, air, and soil to grow. All of these are natural resources. Farmers use these resources to grow plants as food. Fruits and vegetables are plants we eat to stay healthy.
She did a good job reading that. And there's another great picture that shows us that plants are also natural resources, along with the sun and the water and the air and the soil that helps them to grow. Remember, those are the 4 things we learned about that helps plants grow. This is our next natural resource
Animal
page,
resources.
called Animal Resources. It says animals also provide food. Cows make milk we can drink. People use milk to make cheese and yogurt. Hens lay eggs we can eat. We can eat cow and chicken meat too. Dairy and protein are good for our bodies. And so here's the milk that cows provide to us. There they are in the background. Let's see what the next one says.
Energy resources.
It says energy resources are used to do something or make something. Coal, oil, and gas are fossil fuels. They are also energy resources. Sunlight, water, and wind are also energy resources. So all of those things, coal, oil, gas, are things that are found in nature that people can use. And here's the last one.
Saving natural resources.
This is an important one. Now that we know what natural resources are, it is so important that we work hard to save our natural resources and take care of our earth. This page says people use Earth's natural resources every day. We need them to live. It is important to use them carefully so there are enough in the future. Remember to reduce, reuse, and recycle. Those 3 words, reduce, reuse, and recycle, are ways that we can help protect our natural resources. And we're going to talk about that in just a moment. So I'm going to move my iPad to the side and I'm going to bring out this piece of paper that I made for us. This is going to help us review natural resources. Down at the bottom I wrote natural resources. Natural means something found in nature, and resources are things that people can use. So if somebody says, what is a natural resource? We could say something found in nature that people can use. That's what a natural resource is. And then I've listed some here that we read about in our book and on PebbleGo, and I drew a little picture to remind us of each. So the first one is soil. Soil is definitely a great natural resource. We use it to plant plants in. Forests and plants are also natural resources. We use the wood from forests to make paper and furniture and homes. Plants, lots of plants we use to have food for people and animals. Water is another important natural resource, of course. Fish use water as their place to live. We use water to drink and to bathe and to cook with. Water is very important. Air. Air, of course, is a natural resource because we use it to breathe. Animals. We can use animals and the things that they provide for us for food, like milk from cows, eggs from chickens, and other animals we can use for meat. And the last one I had on my list was minerals. Minerals are things found down in the soil in the earth. They can be used to create other things. Things like aluminum can be found in the earth. That's a mineral. Other things like garnets and other gemstones can be used for jewelry. Those are minerals. And then I remember a few I don't have on my list here, but I saw on the PebbleGo site. Things like coal and oil and gas, those are all found on the earth and we use them. They're natural resources. So that's pretty cool. We have a lot of important resources on our earth and we must protect them and take care of our earth so that we'll have these natural resources in the future. And by that I mean we don't want to pollute, so we want to keep our water clean. We don't want to pollute our air. We want to make sure it stays clear and healthy. We want to protect our soil and our plants. We want to make sure that everything is ready for the future and people in the future who will need to use these natural resources. On the back of my paper, I wrote those 3 words that were introduced to us on that last PebbleGo page. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Those 3 words help to remind us of ways that we can keep our earth healthy and protect our natural resources. Reduce means to use less of something, and I just did this. I had my information about natural resources on the front of my paper, and instead of using a brand new piece of paper, I flipped it over and used the back. So I used less paper that way. That's what it means to reduce what we use, to use less of something so that we have more to use at a later time. That means we don't have to cut down as many trees if we're reusing the back of the paper we have. The next word is reuse, and that means to use again. So I have reduced, I used less paper because I flipped it over and used the back. I guess that could also be reusing the paper. Reusing means to use it again, and I have something to remind us of that. Sometimes, instead of cooking dinner at our home, we get food from a restaurant, and oftentimes it comes in a container like this. This is what we use to get Chinese food from a restaurant when we order it. And it's a plastic container that had our food in it, but certainly instead of throwing this plastic container away, we could wash it out and we could use it again. That's a great way to protect our natural resources so that we don't have to make brand new ones all of the time. We can reuse what we already have. If you have a water bottle that's a throwaway water bottle, instead of throwing it away, you could use it again. Or even better, you could get a water bottle that's always reusable. And the last way to protect our natural resources is to recycle. When we recycle, we collect things like plastic and paper and glass and aluminum, and we send them to a company that remakes them into something else. So for example, the bag that my Chinese food came in, you can see here it says that it's recyclable, and they made it from recycled paper. So instead of having to make something brand new, people had recycled their paper and they made this new bag out of it. And we can then recycle it again, which is amazing. That's a great way to help protect our planet and our natural resources. So reducing, using less, reusing, using things again, and recycling like we do at school and maybe like you do at home are great ways to protect our natural resources. Remember, natural resources are something found in nature that people can use. So if you can, take a look out your window, or even better, go outside and see, that's my phone ringing, and see if you can locate some natural resources around you. I bet you can. Have a great day. Thanks for watching this video and learning about natural resources with me. Bye-bye.